Hi, everyone. This is your host, Michelle, and you're listening to the Mindfull podcast, the show that aims to break the stigma associated with mental health. Today, we have Tammy Berman, a private practice mental health therapist in South Florida. Please join us as we discuss teen mental health, including warning signs, what parents really need to know, and some of the effective treatments. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mindfull podcast. Today, we have Tammy Berman.
Yes.
I said it right.
You said it right.
Yes. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. I'm sorry we're running a little late.
It's okay.
We've had back-to-back interviews, people, so we're busy here.
Yeah,
right?
which is great.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good
so
sign.
Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
So I'm an owner of My Counseling Connections, the founder, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I specialize in working with teens. I also specialize in something called dialectical behavior therapy. And the other specialty I have is helping people through the divorce process, primarily because I learned about the collaborative divorce process and fell in love with that, wanted to really be a part of that. And so I did a lot of training and competency around all aspects of divorce.
Nice.
So that's just another piece.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're speaking into the mic when you're talking.
Okay.
Me? Oh, her?
Me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Take some getting used to.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait.
Yes.
And can I add?
Yes, of course.
And I also have expanded into a group practice.
Okay.
So now I have 7 clinicians working in my practice as well, which is great.
So
Yeah.
you're the supervisor, or they're working
practice owner. They work within my practice. I provide supervision and mentorship, but they all have their own unique specialties. Some of them are in line with what I do, and some of them have some additional specialties like substance abuse and
that's amazing.
couples counseling. Yeah, just different things as well. Yeah.
So you only do private practice?
Yes.
Okay. And your specialty is teens?
Yes.
How did you get into that?
The second job that I had out of my graduate school was in community mental health, and it was with a program through Henderson Mental Health Center. It was a dual diagnosis program working exclusively with teenagers. And so through that whole experience, I started to fall in love with working with teenagers, and they're my people. I honestly love working with teens.
It could be fun.
So I truly love working with teens. they're awesome.
Final statement. I love working with teens.
Yeah. I learned like over the years in the field that there's not too many people that love working with teens. It's like, so it's become somewhat of a niche in that sense. There's people that love working with teens, and there's people that don't so much love working with teens.
I agree. I love working with teens too.
So.
It could be a little hectic is the word. I don't know. Just all over the place, but it's fun. It keeps you young.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that stage of life too, because they're like, eyes are opening to the world, and they're in a process of individuation. So they're taking in everything and kind of defining and redefining who they are as people.
Yeah.
So it's for me, that's super exciting. I love to be a part of that process, and I feel honored to help in some way and influence them in some positive way.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to my next question. How is teens' mental health different than that of an adult?
Right. So that's a big piece of it, is the developmental process that they're in is this process of individuation. They're pulling away from their parents. They're still in developmental mode. There's so much they don't know about life.
But they think they know everything.
Yes, and they fight for autonomy, which is all part of that stage of individuation. They're trying to figure out their values and morals. They're trying to pull away and be autonomous with the kind of thoughts and ideas they have that they're working on about the world. It's also such a cool time from a brain development stage, because what I learned in one of my trainings is they are there's 2 times in your life where you are most creative, where your brain is most creative. One is like 0 to 5, and the other is in the teen years, because the brain goes through this pruning process, and So they're just like, they're open to the world.
Yes.
And yet finding their place in the world. And that's the challenge. So how are they different? They're not fully formed. And so their ability to regulate emotions and stuff like that, you know, like the braking system in the brain is not fully formed yet. But the gas, like the acceleration system is on. And so
is
that's
that
how
the
they're
risk
different.
behavior?
That's where,
that?
that's where it's like impulsive risk behavior,
Yes.
but also that ability to think outside the box. Like all of that part of the brain, like development is happening at that time. So, it's super cool for that, and probably definitely super scary for that reason too.
Yes. And I'm sure a lot of parents can relate. It could be a struggle.
Yeah.
You know, especially when they start becoming this independent person, but you want to just be like, no, you're not going out. You could like get killed. And they're like, no, let me go out. And it's this whole ordeal.
Yes. And like, you know, having good judgment, and every teen is so different too, and their personality.
I know adults that don't have good judgment, so I can't really expect it from a 15-year-old.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's how they're different. They have a specific developmental stage they're going through. They're looking to their peers to learn stuff and experiment and explore the world. So like their eyes are on the world way more now than they ever were before. And so parents influence you. Hopefully you've got as much in as a foundation leading up to the hit of 14, 15, 16.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so hard too, because like you mentioned, they go towards the peers, right, for advice and all that.
Yeah.
And they're all in the same developmental stage.
Yes.
So obviously there's not going to be good solutions, and you wish they would talk to you as a parent. At least I know I would want mine to talk to me.
Yes.
Like my students talk to me when I'm counseling.
See, that's
It doesn't
awesome.
happen. It just doesn't happen.
From a parental experience, right?
Yes, it doesn't. As a counselor, they're here telling me how they hate their parents and they can't talk to their parents. And then I go home and I'm like, how was your day? And he's like, fine.
Right.
I was
well,
like,
been there,
okay.
done that with you for 15 years.
Oh
You're
my
like
God.
old news.
Yeah.
Every parent is old news by the time
know.
the teenage years hit.
Yeah.
So they are looking for new material, new information. Like they're in the mode of exploration. So how does a parent deal with that is like regular check-ins and actually having to evolve themselves and be creative in how they engage with their teens. Like finding new ways to engage with teens to like check in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually he'll open up, and then of course your first reaction is like defense. Who do I gotta beat up? So no, okay, no, I'll go to jail. I was like, okay, this is how you're gonna solve it. You will solve it. I will not get in between.
Yeah.
But it can be hard, and even now as an adult, I don't tell my parents everything.
Yeah, no.
So like, why are you expecting your teen to tell you everything?
No,
like, you don't
that's-
even tell your own parents everything.
Yeah,
Like, no, it doesn't work
that's
like
part
that.
and parcel of. That's where the challenge lies as a parent. Is, you know, they're exploring new territory they may not be comfortable to share. So that's definitely the challenge for parents if they have concerns for their kids' judgment, the kind of kids that their children are like hanging out with. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's their own journey. So
Yeah.
we all had a bad crowd here and there, right?
Yeah, well, you can't get away from that. You're in middle school, high school. There's all kinds of crowds around. There's all kinds of exposure to such a variety of different things happening, especially now more than ever.
Yes, agreed.
So there's a lot of challenge with that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when talking about mental health, what are some of the most common mental health disorders that you see amongst teenagers?
Yeah. So for me, specific with regards to my specialty, I attract clients that are dealing with depression, suicidal ideation, and self-harming behavior because of dialectical behavior therapy being a evidence-based modality that is known to effectively not cure, but is like one of the best approaches for dealing with self-harming and chronic suicide and also borderline personality disorder. But so I see a lot of depression. I see a lot of suicide. I see a lot of family conflict that's creating a problematic dynamic. There's there's definitely anxiety that comes into my practice, some transitioning that happens, kids that are struggling with their identity and going through a process of transitioning. It's not a big piece because that's not my specialty.
But it does
That's
happen.
the primary stuff that comes to me.
Yeah.
Substance abuse on occasion. That's
Okay.
also not a big one that comes into my practice, though it's part of the deal with teens.
Now, what are some warning signs to look out if you would be speaking to a parent, for example?
Yeah. So the thing that I tell parents, as well as teaching guidance staff and staff at school, I used to speak to different schools and educate on this too, is like one significant point is any marked change in behavior. That is, when you start to see a real shift in your kid's behavior from what was the norm for them, and it could be like in either direction. So if your child is like the shy kid that's mostly gaming or at home or homebody,
Keeps to himself.
right,
or
and then
herself.
all of a sudden there's this like flip, and now they're becoming super social. It could be great, it could be fine, but it's an indication your radar should be up and you should start be paying attention to what's going on. So any shift in a like typical behavior for your kid is a warning sign. In terms of like self-harming behavior and depression, the warning signs for that is when they start to isolate, they start to wear clothes, like concealing clothes, like it's warm outside, they're wearing long sleeves, like what's your deal?
Well, except hoodies. I feel like all the kids just want to wear a hoodie. Doesn't matter if it's 90 degrees.
It's true. That makes it hard too, because hoodies are a thing right now. So that's a
don't
popular
get
sort
it.
of. But when you but when they start to wear more clothes that are concealing,
Yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying,
yes. Like long sleeves all the time and pants.
right? Don't want to go to the pool. Don't want no exposure of skin anymore. It might be like, you want to check in on what is up with that. Isolating behavior, yes, that's a concern. Sleeping all the time, concern.
That's another tricky one because teens sleep a lot.
Yes.
I used to be able to sleep 12 hours. Now I sleep 7 and I'm up. I'm like, okay.
I know. I think of myself as a kid, as a teen. I slept a lot. I mean, I would average sleeping till 1 or 2, and I got away with that. That's poor parenting, in my opinion, honestly, that I got away with that. And it perhaps contributed to like the struggle of depression and like the struggles I had as a teen. So yeah, as parents, we do have to help manage that. It's not okay to be sleeping 10, 12 hours. And parents get busy in life, and kids become so much more self-sufficient by the time they're in the teen years that you can start to easily neglect and not pay attention because like they're doing their life, you're doing your life at this point. You still need to be your kid's coach.
You still need to guide them.
They still need the guidance. You still need a window in, and you need to like have a regular window in as a parent to like just make sure they're doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all those warning signs are valid and relates or correlates with the same warning signs that I can see in the school setting. Like grades. If they're an A+
grades.
student.
Yes, that's another one that is absolutely
they're failing.
big time. Yeah. Grades, usually not, although this can be a thing where all of a sudden now they're incredibly like perfectionistic and whatever. Like that's a rare, like, is there something wrong with that? No, everyone would be like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But
no,
absolutely
it gives
it's sliding.
them anxiety.
Right. Well, something can be going on that all of a sudden they're putting so much pressure and they're pushing themselves to such a degree. But yes, another really common warning sign is falling grades. Like that's definitely one.
Yeah,
Something's
attendance
up.
too. They kind of go along.
Yes, something's up.
But
with
that goes
though.
back to what you said. Any subtle change of anything, really.
Yeah.
Like, but it has to be drastic.
Yeah, it's something that's noticeable. Like there's a shift.
Not just like one class they're failing.
No,
Maybe they suck at math.
Right.
Just leave them alone. Get them a tutor.
Right. I mean, do good investigation to try to understand. Things can make sense, but over time, if this is happening 4, 5, 6 times, there's a progression, and the investigation proves to be like not really panning out with anything legit. There's something going on.
Yeah. Depends on the severity as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How can we help these teens that might be going through some mental health issues?
So we as in parents, we as in providers, what?
Do both. Surprise me. I guess for our listeners, we have either or.
You know what? I think of, okay, so I have a client that goes to Fort Lauderdale High School, and this happened just 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you know about this kid that died by suicide at the school, and I work with one of the kids that knew him. So the moment that it happened, his parents texted me, and so actually this kind of thing
it could be
is on my mind right now. You know, just how to help kids, how to help parents, how to help providers, and it's just about checking in. I think kids, like, they're not equipped, and they need to know and be encouraged to know to reach out for help. And there's a million people out there to help, but who's the right kind of help? Adults in general. Okay. Parents are not always so equipped to help, but they're better than going to a peer. Okay. So if you have to choose that, if I have to choose between a parent versus a guidance or a teacher that you really feel good about, you know, like some more professional adult in the school system, school counselor is ideal. And that would be my number one recommendation because they have the training and background. And parents, unfortunately, in my experience, they've been given the opportunity to help and with information and not really knowing how to deal. So, but still, a parent is better than going to a teen.
Yeah, like a parent would know at least where to go, where to take it.
Right. They'll reach out to the other parent's parent. They may reach out to guidance. Usually those are the two best things that I've seen parents do, which is great because then the thing gets addressed. So for kids, it's just to be compassionate and to know that they should reach out for help and encourage their friends to reach out for help.
Yeah.
So
it's so sad.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of suicides lately for some reason.
There's just a lot of mental health really that's shown up. I don't know if it's blown up since COVID. I can tell you that for me, my specialties in private practice, I had a personal goal in terms of like the gross income I wanted to hit for 2020 before I really realized COVID coming its way. And my practice more than it blew up for my particular specialties. Think about teens. Their developmental stage is all about like learning and reaching out from peers. And now it was cut off. And so the need for them was great. And I think there's like been kind of a perfect storm or horrific storm. I think there's good and bad in this, that the stigma of mental health is slowly dissipating. Like I think it's being more encouraged and accepted and supported, and that's like a beautiful thing. People need help. The direction of us with like being so social media and so isolated and stuff, we need to connect. So that part's great. And so maybe that's also why more problems are coming to the surface as people are like now more and more reaching out for help.
No, it's definitely an issue that had to be addressed, you know, eventually. And if going through a pandemic was what we needed to address it, then
whatever. It is what it is. But there is a great need.
You talk about connection, right? And I'm thinking pandemic, not being able to connect. The only way we were able to connect was, drum rolls, social media. So that's a big one. Do you believe that teens' mental health is affected by social media? In your opinion?
I mean, I was just having this conversation before we started talking on the podcast, and it, for sure, in so many different ways. People just allowing them and promoting them to isolate more and be more disconnected and lacking the social skills. We were talking about the attention span.
Oh my God, yes.
You know, like, and that it's affecting our ability to hold long periods of time of attention on things because of TikTok and all the quick, fast, like, next.
I feel it too. I go through the short ones and like, I don't want to see those like long ones anymore. You get so used to just scrolling that but like it drains me sometimes. I see a couple and then I'm like, I'm over it.
Exactly.
Kids don't get over it.
No, well, they're still still being wired up.
Yeah.
And so there's an addictive component to it, and it's we're in like no man's land because the technology is faster than our ability to really research and understand the effects of it. So we're all kind of like pioneering, trying to figure this out and see.
Yeah.
But you have your instincts and you have your sense of stuff. And for me, I'm like super concerned for my kids, even on like, especially the TikTok type, like YouTube has it too. I can't remember what YouTube is called, but like
I think it's like short clips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shorts.
And then there's the
YouTube
Reels
Shorts.
for Instagram.
Reels,
and,
right. Like all that stuff. I have, like, it's really upsetting to me. I don't have any data behind it, but all I can tell you is I'm really concerned for how it's messing with my kids' heads.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that I've seen in terms of a real negative effect in the last 5 years from a social media standpoint, when I think about myself as a teenager and I don't know if you've ever heard this cliche, the Monday morning rumor roll.
No.
So there, back in the day, there would be, you'd be in high school and there'd be all these parties on the weekend and you'd come to Monday and you get to hear all the drama and all the who hooked up with who.
Oh, now everything's recorded. Okay. You just it's like live. They do lives. You're like, you're in the party, but you're not in the party.
Okay. Well, then there's that too. But, you had to deal with the Monday morning rumor roll and how much it like got through to depending on the people, but it wasn't through everybody accessing at the same time a Facebook post or an Instagram post or whatever it is. What's happening now is that some event gets blown up and it's magnified not just through words from person to person, but we're talking magnified to like hundreds of people.
Oh, yes.
So an embarrassing moment, let's say, gets blown up to a point where it's so overwhelmingly magnified.
Listen, I see that so often.
Yes. In your school, right?
Yes. Rumors, a picture will get airdropped.
Yes.
And there's this debate of, well, they need the phones for certain assignments because now everything's technology. But then for other classes, they don't need the phone and they need a laptop. Or now what we're doing is we're taking the phones away when they go to the bathroom because they were recording everything in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
Like almost like harassing some kids. So it's definitely a whole thing, and they just want to like record everything. There's a fight, they record the fight.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah,
I'm so glad there was no social media in my life.
Oh my God, me too.
And then nobody recorded our fights.
I have a lot of concerns. I just don't have a lot of my own guidance from any experts because we're behind on research and real good like objective knowledge of the. I can only going on my instincts, and I'm only dealing with stuff as it happens and is presented to me in the office with clients. And just as you just said, I had a client where with her boyfriend, supposedly consensual, sending nudes between each other or something,
God, yes.
or just like inappropriate pictures. And he promised he wouldn't share, but someone else got a hold of his phone or whatever. And then it gets shared with like 5 other people and they participate.
Yes.
And now here she is having a complete, like almost to a point of being hospitalized kind of thing. So it gets so blown up real quick.
Yes. I had a case like that. Had to give the whole conversation of, don't do this.
Right.
You don't know where your picture is going to end up.
Yes. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So we as parents and providers, we need to do like the best we can at educating and like proactively educating on like the do's and don'ts of what we've learned.
Yes.
And what we know.
I think education is important because like you mentioned, they're developing, they're risk takers. Like they're going to do what they're going to do, but maybe just by understanding a few things, having certain tools, maybe I don't feel that they will learn from us. I feel like they learn from their own mistakes, but we can still kind of guide them, right?
Yeah, you're making me think about, I'm going to be presenting on mental health and like different tips and strategies on how to take care of your mental health to a private day school in Broward this week, actually.
Oh, nice.
But talking about social media and the do's and don'ts, we could do a like, I don't know if the school does something like that, but they do need the support. They need they need that message shared as just let's do our best and drop some like plant some seeds.
Drop the knowledge.
Yeah.
Like sexting.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of people feel, I guess I feel comfortable talking about it, same as you, because we see it and we deal with it and we're always talking about it.
Yeah.
But in the school is so like, oh, like don't talk about
Oh,
it.
no.
I was like,
I definitely
it's
want to
reality.
infuse that.
I'm dealing with it. Sexting, vaping,
Yes.
nudes. Like, I'm sorry, it's happening.
Yes.
So we have to talk about it, and I have to let you know what could happen. And it goes both ways, because I can tell you as the victim where it's going to go, how you're going to feel, what's going to happen. The whole school might
Yeah.
find out. And then you educate on the other side of, you can go to jail.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
no.
And
Federal
some
offense.
students, they don't know.
They don't realize.
And when
yeah.
I'm like, listen, I have a cop down there. This could be harassment, or this could be second degree, whatever. Like, they freak out.
Yeah.
Because for them, it's just like a funny joke.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you've given me an
education.
idea that of a presentation I would like to put together just to
Yeah.
help, like the do's and the don'ts from a legal perspective, and
Yes.
just
Yes. And the emotional damage you can cause
of course,
somebody.
absolutely,
You know, both
absolutely.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychoeducation, baby.
Yep, it's a thing.
We got this.
It's really important. It's very important for our
It
teens.
is.
Yeah.
You know, some people might make fun of it, but I think it's just,
Oh no.
I feel a lot of people are not stupid. They're just ignorant.
Well,
And it might not be their fault.
we need to provide social emotional learning in schools.
Yes.
School is where everything
starts.
happens. Honestly, so they need the modeling and the support and the
Mm-hmm.
education around everything. Like, everything shows up in school. Everything is
Yes.
expected to be housed and provided in school. There's a lot of pressure on schools
Yeah.
to be they really are the second parent.
I see your kids more often than I see my kids.
Exactly.
Like no.
So, yeah.
That's why I don't bother my son's teachers, because I'm like, you have them for 8 hours. Like,
Thank you.
good
Thank
luck.
you,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
Call me for emergencies. That's it. I have to deal with my 550 students. You
Right.
deal with that one.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yes. But we can continue to talk about this forever.
I know.
Because
We can.
it's a very strong subject.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, what are some of the most effective treatments that you might use or see in your private practice?
Well, for me, this could be a whole nother session educating about what
Okay.
dialectical behavior therapy is.
I'm kind of familiarized. You
Okay.
kind of mention it, but for
Yes.
those who don't know, maybe do a brief,
Okay. So
small brief.
I will do my best.
Okay.
DBT, it's dialectical behavior therapy is the modality, and it's known as DBT just because that's a really long name to say.
Mm-hmm.
It was developed by this woman, Marsha Linehan, who was living a life in hell. I just, not too long ago, read her memoir. She's the only actually functional human being I've ever known. Not that I know her, but she was in a treatment center for 2 years and 3 months, undergoing the most intense forms of treatment that I've ever heard of. And I used to work with severe and persistent mentally ill clients that have been in the state
Okay.
hospital for 17 to 20 years, plus ECT, like all kinds of crazy treatment. Anyways, long story short, she was living in hell, as she puts it, and she made a promise that she was going to get herself out of hell and help other people go back into hell and help other people get out of hell. She like one step at a time, but became an avid researcher. She started as a behaviorist. She then got really into Zen and Buddhist
Okay.
principles, mindfulness. Continued to do research all along the way to inform the protocol that she was developing to help these people in hell. So she did not have a target market, as in, like, she wasn't looking to cure borderline personality disorder. She was operationally defining who are these people that are living in hell. These are people that are chronically suicidal, chronically self-injurious, and the comorbidity, the incidence of them having a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder was extremely high, as well as complex or some history of trauma.
Okay.
So long story short, it's an evidence-based approach that's quite comprehensive. It requires individual therapy that's very structured, a skills group that covers 4 core skills. And the core skills are mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotion regulation, interpersonal effectiveness, and then phone coaching, 24-hour, 7-day a week, like supportive phone coaching, and then coordination of care with any care provider. So for those people that are truly in hell.
Okay.
Long story short, I learned this at the highest level that was available back in 2004, working with these severe and persistent mentally ill clients. As I moved into private practice, I found myself pulling out these DBT skills. I was using them for my own benefit. To this day, I continue to use and learn from and like find new ways to use DBT skills. I absolutely love them. When I fell in love with teens, it was like such a perfect match, because often I hear from parents like complain, I wish I had a manual to help teach me how to help like parent my kids.
Yeah.
For teens, in terms of their developmental stage and all the stuff going on for them, these 4 core skills, mindfulness, improving their capacity for awareness, distress tolerance, helping them manage the red zone because their brain is not wired for breaking.
Yes.
Emotion regulation, teaching them about their system, how it works. And then interpersonal effectiveness, teaching them how to manage relationships and build it and have. So that's became the thing. And the other thing was that DBT is effective at helping self-injurious behavior. So cutters. And cutting is a very common thing with teens.
It is.
So that just became the treatment modality that I felt was best from an evidence-based to serve them. And people, the general therapeutic community is really scared of dealing with suicide and self-harming behavior. It's scary. If you're not well trained in something that is known to help, then they don't want to deal. They want to refer out. So here I am, and I'm happy to help. And those are my people. And DBT is what I use.
I'm going to start referring you.
Okay.
Yeah, as a school counselor, I'm limited, right?
Yeah.
For certain things. But I can't go deep into therapy because 550 students, correct? So when I get those students with suicide ideation, I usually refer them.
Of course.
But at the same time, there's no me referring for the assessment. It's kind of like on me. So I have to be trained for it, and I have, thankfully. And for me, I don't want to say normal, but it's a very common thing to get, like the cutters, self-injury, and
that is
suicidal
very common
ideations. Yeah, and when I speak about the subject with people that are not trained, they always ask me, how do you do this? Like, how can you even talk about this? I'll be crying, and I'm just like, we're the professionals. Like, we are not meant there to break down. Like, we are the resource to them.
Right.
Like, if it's not me, then whom, you know?
Right.
And it could be very tough. But very rewarding.
Oh, I love it. And it works. I mean, the evidence in terms of the outcome data of DBT and why, if anybody listening out there has heard of DBT, it's probably because, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but at the time that I was trained intensively, it was the only known treatment approach to effectively cure borderline personality disorder. There's no other treatment that can alleviate all symptoms to like reporting no symptoms.
Yeah.
Since then, though, DBT has been applied to a variety of different clinical populations, like eating disorders, like addiction.
Any trauma, too.
Depending on the level, but yes, I won't go into the weeds on it, but yes. But I love DBT. So that's the treatment modality I most often use. It's not the only one for teens. Not everybody needs DBT.
Yeah, of course.
You know, cognitive behavioral therapy is the default for me. And just like for teens, as in with everybody, rapport is like, the relationship is the number one thing.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So the only door in is to really like meet anybody where they're at and
help them however.
Yeah. And so I say to families, like, the first and foremost, like the most important thing right now is for your teen to feel comfortable with me and that they feel that like they could work with me. There's a million of me out there.
Yeah.
If it's not me, there'll be someone else, and it's okay. Like, the idea is there's helpers available and out there. So that's like our number one step right now, you know?
What are some of the resources besides therapy and whatever you can find in school for teens' mental health, whether it's for parents, for teens themselves, that they might be, I don't know, maybe a book, group?
Well, I offer a lot of skills groups, and I offer a parenting, it's like parenting with DBT group, especially for the kids that are in my program. There's tons of support groups out there, parenting groups, through like the coaching world. There's like parenting support stuff. and a lot of things for teens too. Like I'm seeing through Facebook, like ads for life coaching for teens and things.
Yes.
Books for teens, you know, I'm not so much a book person. I'm a
Okay.
come talk to me person, and I'll find you
Okay.
the right person if it's not going to be me. So I'm a big supporter of therapy first, like counseling
Okay.
as an option. I don't find myself referring for life coaching or coaching as the thing, because usually they're coming because they have a good sense.
Yeah.
If it's not something that really needs clinical, then I would consider it. But
Okay.
even a therapist is the most perfect person to
Yeah.
be a coach anyways.
Exactly.
So that's a lot of the resources. There's community mental health resources, you know, depending on the budget needs of a family, the resources they have to give to it. There's so many community mental health, amazing
Yes.
community mental health agencies out there. Like I used to work in one and I loved it, provided great support.
Yeah.
So, you know, and there
There's
really
a
is
way.
a ton of the NAM. Okay, I'll just say like NAMI, you know,
Yes.
go online. National Association for Mental Illness is a great entry point to find like online resources and support in your community.
Yeah. Just do your research.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to seek out for
Yeah.
professional help.
Yeah.
I think I say that in every podcast. Sound like a broken record, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just do your research. Even calling like most therapists, I'll tell you for my practice, we offer a complimentary consultation, like 15-20 minute phone call to understand what you're looking for and see if we can be helpful to you. And I'm a big believer, if I'm not the right person for you, I will do my best to help find you some
Yeah.
resources and options of other people that may be. So it's a journey to
Yes.
find the thing.
The right
but
fit.
Yeah.
We got to click too.
Yeah.
I get that with students a lot too. They're like, well, I've been through like 3 therapists, but I like talking to you. And I was like, sometimes it takes that. Sometimes you have to
Yes.
go through
Yeah.
a bunch of different people. We all have different techniques.
Yeah. Everybody's
So,
got different gifts and skills and tools to give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I might relate better with a woman. Somebody might relate better with a man or
Right.
older or younger, like
Right.
for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
report's very important, like you mentioned.
Yeah, that's a big one. And another big one is competency. You need the right person for the right thing. You want them to have a level of training and expertise. I didn't understand or appreciate that as much as I do now that I have so many trainings. I haven't done a lot of
Yes.
investment in terms
Okay.
of like my training and expertise, but yeah, you know, do your best in terms of research to find the right person. It's
Yes.
got to be a good fit and they've got to be competent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for
Yeah.
coming, taking your time for this interview. I
Thank
know your
you.
life is precious.
Yes, it is. As is yours.
But we'll be in touch. I want to bring you back.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
this was wonderful. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and expertise with
Thank you.
teens.
Thank
it could
you
be
so much.
hard, but rewarding.
Yeah.
Right?
I love them. Like I said, they're my
Awesome.
wheelhouse.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another amazing episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you guys next week.